give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's happening in today's show? We're going to talk about the big hope for immigration reform. Friends, my name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe preventing that problem from happening in the first place. Welcome to greencardguys.tv, folks. I want to let you know that we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. All right. We got some positive feedback from clients on reasons why they end up hiring us. And unfortunately, they were discouraged after talking to other law firms. So for what it is, we know there's plenty of people help. So we're just trying to drop some knowledge and share with y'all so you can make the right decision for y'all. But it's very unfortunate people have to pay hundreds of dollars. And also maybe they talked to like 5 lawyers. So they paid the client just told me they spent $1,000 worth of consults. And they saw our pricing, not just consult, but the ultimate case. They said another law firm another lawyer that's on YouTube and social media was charging pretty much double than what we charge. So to each their own. But hey, we're here. I do believe we charge reasonable fees. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to share the fee structure on the show because I don't want to get banned. But so you really do need to contact us. All right. Welcome to the show. I'm going to answer some questions, but before I get to that, I do have to address Tony's comment first. Tony says, "How long?" Sorry about the Cowboys, but yeah, damn, Houston, what a great game. Yeah, I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, and it's just every year just chips away at my loyalty. It's pretty strong loyalty for the Dallas Cowboys, but people are quick, media quick to find who's the problem of the team or any of your sports team, right? They say the coach, head coach. Yeah, maybe Mike McCarthy is not the best. I know y'all are not here to hear about Cowboys, but it just really I would be at peace if I just share this. I don't think the problem was the head coach necessarily, or even Dak Prescott, the quarterback. But always, of course, the leaders are going to get the heat of it, kind of like President Biden, right? But the defense was horrible. The Cowboys' defense was horrible, which is strange because most of the year they were great. The past 3 years. So it's very unfortunate. I think just NFL fans in general were shocked on how the performance that quickly. It's like similar to the Cleveland Browns game. I think everyone's shocked. But anyways, to immigration. All right. So the hot topic, of course, every January there's always some kind of inkling of, is immigration reform going to happen? Now, I don't think so. To cut to the chase, John does not think it's going to happen. Not this year. Number one, Mike Johnson, okay, the House Speaker for the Republicans. He's helping out the Republicans. He's only in office allegedly because the Republican Party in general was not happy, or the majority, at least not in general, the majority were not happy with the prior Speaker, Mike McCarthy. But he proposed essentially the same budget, okay, as Mike McCarthy. Well, it's all about Mikes today. McCarthy. So, yeah, isn't that kind of weird? I mean, that's what I hear. I didn't do I didn't do a deep dive research, so I could be just conjecturing here. But from what I heard from a political um, analyst here, is that you just want to think about that, okay? Especially if you live in America, and especially if you here with resident status or you're a U.S. citizen. Man, because y'all residents, y'all eventually going to become U.S. citizens. So when you have the ability to vote, you got to know these things. Like, man, sure, you could be Republican, you could be Democrat, but what's going on with your own party? You got to really think about that. Are they really going to help us? I hate to say, most of the time, no. It's very, very unfortunate. So you just got to be aware of that. And how does that affect immigration? A whole ton. Because if they can't even get the budget done, which should be practical as it does fund the United States agencies and different programs, you would think they got their shit together, but they don't. All right. So, could there be a shutdown? That's for another discussion. But here's the deal: everyone thinks that okay, man, our best chance was President Obama. Well, he used all his political, we call like power, capital towards the Affordable Healthcare Act. And go figure, the Republicans ever since then have been trying to chip away at it and get rid of it. It has not worked. Do I think it's the best healthcare program? No, but it helps. It's still helped a lot of people. And that's ultimately what laws are meant to do, help a lot of people or prevent certain things from happening. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm still going to answer some questions here in the comment section. I appreciate the trust. Um, but ultimately, if you want a deep dive solution discussion for your situation, please schedule an appointment or give us a call or go to the website and our team will assist you. Okay. Now, when you do call in, please know you're not talking to a lawyer. Okay. You will eventually talk to a lawyer, of course. We believe that's important. And actually, some feedback I got from a client earlier today is they're very like we already had at least 2 to 3 meetings with that client. It's been 30 days, right? And I would love to have more, but it's up to the client to schedule that time in the calendar. We actually provide a link below our signature line so you can self-schedule. You don't even have to call in to schedule a meeting with us. And so he greatly appreciated that because he said he spoke with another lawyer before, several lawyers, and their lawyers on other law firms did not give them the light of day. So that's very unfortunate to hear. Um, but anyway, back to reform talk. Okay. So back when it was George H.W. Bush and even George W. Bush presidency, those were the last presidents that really Republican presidents who were for immigration, pro immigration. Now, was everything pro immigration? Probably not. Actually, Bill Clinton was not pro immigration. In fact, you would probably argue if there's two main policies that he passed or laws that he passed, he signed off for was IRA, okay, essentially the one that created the unlawful presence bars. Yeah, thank him. And then the other thing is um, that was the other one that's a benefit though was grandfathering 245I. So you just have to understand the history because right now a lot of people are like, yeah, pro Democrats, I get it. Sure for now, but you have to know the past. And if you know the past, you would say to yourself probably, holy shit, Republicans have really flipped the book. And it's kind of crazy. They're I hate to say, even if you're Republican, I get people being conservative, but the Republican Party in America is wild because if you saw the results from the Iowa caucus, okay, this is what we call primaries, that they focus on the Republican Party for now, as of yesterday, that the majority of people, I'm sorry if you're not into politics, but you have to understand politics to understand immigration. The majority of people voted for who other than former President Trump. I think that's wild. And I hope other states don't do that, but we'll see how that goes. So, with that being said, historically, the current sitting president will be elected the next presidency. I guess Trump was an exception to that, and of course, it's about leadership. President Biden might not be the most eloquent speaker, um, but hey, was President Trump eloquent? Sure, he's not the best, right? But is he doing what he can to help the American people? Ultimately, stability, who knows, right? You have to make that determination yourself when you end up decide to vote. If only if you're a U.S. citizen, okay? If you're not a U.S. citizen, do not vote. If that was not known already. So anyway, long story short, I do not believe that reform will happen, immigration reform specifically, at least for this year, 2024. Unfortunately, okay. However, and that's because Republicans control the House of Representatives. Okay, for a law to pass, a short, quick summary here: law has to pass the Senate then the same law has to pass the House. Some things can change, what we call amendments, and then a companion bill, and then ultimately signed by the president. So even though the White House is controlled by the Democrats right now and the Senate by Democrats, the House still Republican. So it's a different age, right? A different age in politics in America. And it doesn't if they can't even get the budget done, the news claim that it's all ready to go, but it doesn't appear that way if it's exactly the pretty much exactly the same as um, the Mike McCarthy version. So anyway, off my soapbox there and about my thing there. But if you want to find more information about, learn more information about immigration or hear my rants about politics, follow for more. Okay. If you're on YouTube and Facebook is down below, somewhere around here, TikTok up there, or sometimes it pops up down below, I believe. So we also have a Facebook group. It's called tinglawclub.com. I have to remember all these different websites. So it's down below on Facebook and YouTube. You can see it there, tinglawclub.com. And another thing to mention is that um, we're trying to find another way to provide value to you because some of y'all have more questions that require in-depth analysis of your situation, and sometimes, or not sometimes, my care specialist, the people you speak with the first time, they're not lawyers, right? So they're not supposed to answer legal questions, um, or at least questions with legal answers per se. So, um, and but we just have limited consultations also, right? So we're trying to find a way to provide some access, maybe like every couple weeks. It could be me or one of my associates to answer your question. But of course, there most of y'all have a situation where we do need to meet for a regular strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So on to the questions. I'll try to rearrange this so it's easier. Now, in my background on TikTok, you can see, or it's difficult to see actually. On my background is the federal rule of the federal register that shows. Okay, I'll see if I can share that on YouTube and Facebook. But basically, I did a TikTok the other day, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, talking about how the fees are going up for premium processing. And that's going to take effect in next month, okay, late next month. And you might wonder, well, what does that have to do with, if it's only premium processing, what does that have to do with the regular fees like 485 and whatnot? I believe it will affect, okay, for the regular fees. It will increase soon. In fact, it technically did increase by federal rule. They just haven't implemented it yet. And so if they're increasing it for premium processing near the end of February, I believe they're going to increase it for all the other fees very soon. They just haven't officially announced it. So why am I telling you this? Because you need to get your shit together, okay? So ultimately, okay, you might not like how I said it. I apologize for my French, but a lot of y'all are eligible. Now, some of y'all don't know if you're eligible, and that's okay. Then you need to speak with a lawyer, immigration lawyer. Don't waste your time speaking to a notary, notario, quote unquote paralegal if you are limited on time, especially if when the fee is increasing. Uh, let's see here. So let me share my screen on YouTube. Where is it? Okay, I got a lot of things in front of my face. Okay, there we go. Okay, so those folks on YouTube and Facebook, you can see that now. There it is. Now here it says January 4th, 2023. However, so that was last year. This is a proposed rule part of it, but after how it works in America, when there's a proposal to change policy, uh, or regulation specifically, not policy, there has to be a 60-day comment period. That has passed, long past. So that ended March 13th, 2023. I actually spoke with a lawyer who said his previous job was reviewing these comments, and I actually asked them, "Do y'all actually take it into consideration and review it?" And they do review it, but I don't think they take it to consideration because a lot of these comments are like, I complaining, right? Of course. So, anyways, long story short, I'm trying to see if there's a um a chart here that they provide in terms of the fees. But for the sake of time and to answer your questions, I'm not going to scroll through the whole thing. But for example, okay, so if you apply for AOS, adjustment of status, you don't have to pay extra for the work permit or the advanced parole travel document. But with this new final rule, they're going to charge it separately. Okay. So therefore, the fees in general for applying to become a resident in general is going to increase. All right. So anyway, I won't go into all those details, but just know this is that you need to get your shit together. If you think you're eligible, speak to a lawyer. If you're not quite sure if you're eligible, speak to a lawyer because there's a lot of us out there. I really appreciate it that y'all consider us, but there's a lot of attorneys, and with the time period, I don't know exactly when it's going to be take effect, but you just need to take action, even if it's a small action to speak with a lawyer first. Okay, because who knows what's going to happen in the future? I mean, some of y'all are married to a U.S. citizen, and I don't want to predict the future for you, but we have a lot of clients who ask for our services to apply for VAWA, Violence Against Women Act. It is gender neutral. It does include males as well. They don't discriminate on that, thankfully, but you need to take action. By the way, how's my sound? Because I just got a new mic. Is it okay? Is it a little better than before? If you follow our channel, Tony, you hear it differently a bit? Hopefully, because I paid a good amount for this one. You can lie to me and just say it looks sounds good. All right, on to answer some questions. Thanks so much for your trust. Good to know. Good to know. All right, let me scroll all the way back up to TikTok. I mean, TikTok, they do make it easy, but I wish it could be a little bit easier if I could, like, my team can, like, prioritize some questions, I guess, that it could apply to more people. All right, how long, Philem Bogo, if you're still on, how long does NVC take to schedule an interview in Nairobi, Kenya? I wish I had the magic ball for that. I tried to track it to see if, or my team members have tried to track it to see if there's a start end date, but that only works if, or scheduling date after it gets like documentary qualified, DQ'd, but that requires people to share information. So I'm going to see if there's a way that we can share a link so people can input that into, so we can collect data. So you have a better idea. Okay. Um, but Film Bogo, I don't know if you're DQ'd, but even after DQ'd, it could take a year. Okay, we've actually filed a lawsuit for this reason when a client is DQ'd but have not had an interview scheduled. So stay tuned for that link. Okay, so if you join teenlawclub.com, we're gonna provide a form, a survey. If y'all don't mind sharing some information for data purposes. Okay, we do not sell your data, so we're actually going to put it like anonymous if you want to. Yes, Tony, I got a Shure mic. I saw all these other my homies got the Shure mic, so I figured why not. I had the Yeti mic before. I kept that at the office. All right, so let's see. Next question. You came here in 1999 from Chile and you never got a chance to apply for DACA. Okay. Yikes. Aileen. So yeah, that's tough because as far as I remember, DACA has not been in news recently in the past year or so. More so because I believe Trump is not in the presidency, and that came in the news a lot. Lawsuits, but last thing I know is that DACA for first timers are not allowed to apply right now. So some people have contacted us about that. We just don't offer a quote because we don't want to even accept your money, and we don't want to mislead anyone. Our goal is to only accept, offer quote services if you're eligible legally and willing to work with us, okay, and have a good attitude, of course. All right. But for Aileen, if you have any questions about maybe other options for you, give us a follow. But you can also, of course, schedule a session with us, strategy session, okay? Because we do have more follow up questions to see if you could qualify for something. Can you apply for citizenship with an expired green card? Sorry, I think I answered your question the other day, but for those who have an expired green card, um, you can apply for N400. In fact, you could do that online. Um, you could do that online, but not every field office. So the policy manual USCIS states that you do have to have a valid resident card, but some field offices don't mind. So you may want to chat with us to see um, for your specific situation. Okay, let me switch back over to YouTube. Ephraim asks, can I tell you the link for the free consult? Thanks, your online sessions have been helpful. Yeah, essentially these are appreciate it. You're welcome. Essentially, these are sessions, right? These are like mini workshops in a way. But yeah, you can go to greencardguys.com and schedule so there's and go to click on contact us. If I can get my words out, click on contact us. I'll show you right here, and it's going to have a link. It looks a little differently now, but click on verify now as option one. Answer a few questions right there. All right, and then um, you can submit that. And after you submit it, it's going to redirect you to another page to schedule a session with one of our team members. Now, keep in mind that first session is not with a lawyer, but it helps us to ask more questions because I've noticed to get feedback from my team that they spend a lot of time to playing phone tag. And so we're all about saving time because we get a lot of inquiries. So our process, I think, has fine tuned this year, 2024. So you might be taken aback a little bit. You're like, why am I talking to a non lawyer? Well, it's to collect more information. You don't have to go on the camera. It is default a video session, but you can turn the camera off. Um, but we have a lot of information to share with you. We're all about transparency. So if you haven't noticed that already. Okay, so next question here. Bella on YouTube asks when I think he or she is asking when they call you for an individual hearing. I don't know. Maybe you mixed in two comments. Also, I think you're saying my internet sound, my sound is good too. Oh, maybe internet hearing is that what you mean? Oh, they scheduled you for WebEx hearing. Okay, I think that's what you're saying. um, is it a good sign? You can still go in person. I just spoke with a former client for a mandamus lawsuit, and she had an individual hearing, and she got asylum approved. She's but she said that even though the notice said WebEx, and this is in New York, Federal Plaza, um, in the heart of Manhattan, she went to court with her lawyer, and she said that even the judge, the government attorney were all not even in the federal court. They were all tuned in WebEx. So the notice will say it's WebEx, but you want to check in if you do want to come in person because maybe if you can't depend on your internet signal or even your lawyer's internet signal. Um, I think honestly it's better in person, even if the judge is not there, because it really helps you to be collected, especially if you have kids. You can't treat it like a normal meeting. You really got to focus because attorneys like our team, we have specific questions we want to ask, and it's already a difficult job for us to make sure that the client is answering a question and even to do redirect questions. So sometimes I really believe going in person is helpful, even if the judge is not there. I know that's weird. Okay, back to TikTok. Samir, your asylum decision was mailed. The fees are waived for 765. What does it mean? So it sounds like they received your asylum application, and also I don't think you mean your decision was mailed. I think you just mean the notice. But Yeah, they just essentially means that your 765 application has been received and it's just going to go to the next step. Bruno on TikTok asked, what does it mean when asylum status online changes from pending decision to pending application? I have no idea, honestly. But if you look at your USCIS, my USCIS account, and it says something like estimated timing could be, 2 weeks or something, or 2 months. I would love to hold USCIS to that, but please don't assume you're actually going to get a decision in that amount of time. I wish I knew the answer to your question. I don't think it makes a difference pending decision or pending application. If I find out, I'll let you know. Okay, one more on TikTok, and I'll switch over. If your 589 was filed at Nebraska Service Center, should you apply for work permit at the same place? I believe. Let me see if I can find it. So on the USCIS website, there's specific addresses that you have to use. Okay, gonna share my screen on YouTube and Facebook here. Oh, I see, Gary, you asked on TikTok, but I can't share my screen there. But for those others, so there is a page on the USCIS website specific to the form. It does provide the mailing address, but it does depend on the typically depends on the what you've applied for in general, the foundation, right? So your foundational application is a 589 for asylum. So I'm scrolling here. I think you can see it on there you go. So for those on YouTube and Facebook, you can see this. And if you're on TikTok and want to jump over to YouTube, you go to greencardguys.tv and you can see that. So eligibility category, I picked on asylees and refugees. And there's two different ones. So asylee with a LEE means that you were granted asylum. So for those that still have a pending application, that's the category C8. All right. And it has the address on the right side. Hey, Jessica, thanks for the hat. Appreciate it. I need to get my timing down right. Thanks for the folks that gave a rose. Appreciate it. All right, so you can see there's two different addresses here. It depends if you mail it with USPS or if you mail it with, courier service, like you pay more for it. FedEx, UPS, and DHL. They have a different address because FedEx, UPS, and DHL do not deliver to a PO box. All right, so check that out. I hope that helps. All right. Jessica Medina, I think you're the one that shared the cowboy hat. Appreciate it. Can you get a GC green card revoked due to two DUIs? If so, will you go to jail right away? Now I wonder. It sounds like you haven't been in. You're not in this situation right now. I hope not. But essentially, it's possible, yes, but it's not like automatic. You still go. You have something in America called due process. Okay. So you would have the chance, even if you were in that's what happens, right? If someone gets arrested for a DUI or DWI, it could be called differently depending on the state you live. Um, and then you get essentially referred to ICE. I don't recommend, hey, if they release you on your own recognizance, we call that ROR, that'd be great. However, even if you pay a bond amount in Texas, I think it was first time, it could be $500 from last time I remember. Like, yeah, I had to bail out a friend a long time ago. So I know that knowledge. That was $500, and I'm sure all y'all have that one friend. So take Uber, by the way. Take Uber and Lyft. Back then, we didn't have all that, so would have been helpful. But anyway, long story short, if you have the opportunity to pay bond, like your family member or friend, pay the bond to your county or wherever they can pay it, and they have an immigration hold on you. And I believe the people at the jail that work there will tell you that and say, "Oh, I see that you have immigration hold. Do not pay the bond." This is probably the first time I mentioned this. This is a critical item that I'm glad I shared that. Thank you for your question, Jessica. Do not pay that bond amount. I know no one wants to be in jail, but you need to speak with a lawyer first because once you pay that bond, and even though the people at the local jail or county jail will release you, ICE officers will be outside that door to pick you up. they have 48 hours. So let's say you paid the bond today and it got, went through the process. Okay. By the end of day or something, Tuesday, they could still hold you for 48 hours after that. So 2 days to allow ICE to pick you up. Okay. So I don't know why in Houston, Harris County, it seems like that's not an issue. But you really have to be wary of that. So hopefully there's so much information I can share with you, Jessica. But if you have a situation like this, um, give us a call, okay, or schedule an appointment. All right, on to Daphne on. Let me wait 1 second. Michael on YouTube. He asked, in the immigration point of view, how long can I date someone before getting married? If your spouse wants to file a marriage-based green card, so there's actually not a set time, right? It's more about the evidence. So you could be the longer you date. Some people ask, well, how long do you have to stay married before filing? So, but your question, um, I know, but society makes us think like, oh, you have to date a certain amount of time before you propose. But essentially, you want to be ready for that question. If there's an interview in your case, when they ask you, oh, how did you end up deciding to propose? They could ask you that. Or in general, they do ask, how did you propose? And sometimes the next follow up question is, oh, what made you feel comfortable, right? To propose. And you have to be ready for that question. Okay. Because if you also don't really realistically have a because the thing is, if you don't have a reason, then the USCIS officer is going to think, oh, then you got married for immigration purposes. And that's not going to be a good thing. That's obviously very negative. They're going to think possibly marriage fraud. So as long as you believe, you know, you have a solid reason, I mean, that's one good reason to have a lawyer is to even go through this feedback with these kind of questions at an interview. Okay, Michael, and whoever else is in this situation. But I mean, if you say like, "Well, we've been dating for 3 months," well, seriously, like, what made you feel comfortable to start thinking about proposing? Right? Maybe you've dated several people before. Maybe you're married with someone else before you got divorced. So that in that sense, especially if you're married to someone else who got divorced, that it's a lot easier for a USCIS officer to accept that as a reason. Even though I put in quotations because it really doesn't matter what the reason is, but you want to be feel comfortable in what you say in response to an officer. All right, great question. Let's see. To Daphne. Okay. All right, Daphne. So you said lawyer did not upgrade the case. I don't know what you mean by that. I think you mean file premium processing. Even if your attorney filed your case in general to USCIS, you can file for premium processing after the fact, but that's only for employment based cases. That is not for family based cases. In fact, I actually wonder, comment down below if you would pay more for family based cases. For example, you filed for your parent or your child filed for you, or you're filing for your spouse. If you knew that the government, USCIS, could issue you a decision, let's say in 1 to 2 months, probably impossible for them because of lack of personnel. But if they could do that, would you pay, whatever the premium processing is right now, the fee, 2,500? I know it's tough, right? But that's interesting. Like, I'm surprised actually that USCIS has not allowed that for family based cases. And I think it's part of because, hey, if they're complaining that they need more money for their agency, I would think that they would offer that. But they probably know they just don't have enough personnel to actually get that accomplished. So maybe they don't want to provide too many expectations. That wouldn't surprise me. Daphne, if I'm incorrect about what you meant by your comment, let me know. Abdul asked on YouTube, does I-130 page 5 relate to petition state or where a petition is filed? I think I know the question you're talking about. Let me see if I can find it. Petition I-130. Okay. I don't usually do this to pull up the form itself, but I don't mind today for some reason. Okay, page 5. I can't do this all the time. Now, Abdul, are you still on? Then on YouTube, let me know what question you're talking about. I think you're referring to, by the way, if y'all in the future want me to review an application, a form, not the one you filled out, but like to clarify something like this, uh, let me know the page number and also the question number, and maybe even left side or right side, because for every part or section, they reset the numbering. Okay, but I'll get back to you. Okay, if you I'll try to get back to you if you respond later. But let's see. Let me pull up another question that people really don't think about. That's serious. That's important. I mean, all these questions are important, of course, but let's see. I think it's on this forum. All right, I thought I could find it. The question on this forum that you should be aware of is essentially where do you intend to adjust status or consular process? There we go. I found it. At least for my purposes, what I wanted to share. Okay, so this is page 8. Um, for those on TikTok and can't see this, page 8 on the petition form. And it says beneficiary will not apply for adjustment of status in the US, but he or she will apply for immigrant visa abroad at the US embassy or consulate in. So some of y'all think, okay, maybe not that question you want to answer, but down below on the same page, page 8 on the left side, number 61, the beneficiary is in the United States and will apply for adjustment status to that of a permanent resident. So some of y'all don't, of course, inherently you're not a lawyer, or at least an immigration lawyer. Maybe you're a lawyer, but not immigration. So you might think, oh, I get the option to pick USCIS in the states or the one above on the right abroad. Hell, of course I'm going to pick the states. Well, that's not really up to you. That's depending on your situation. Are you eligible to have that interview in the US? Or maybe you don't need an interview, but I mean, it's not your choice. That's USCIS, but you have to be eligible to apply for adjustment in the US. Okay. So that if you are, then that's when you pick this one down below left, number 61 for part 4. Okay. Now, the problem that I want to share with you is another reason why you need to talk to a lawyer is because really have a lawyer, hire one, is because if for some reason you pick the wrong one, you essentially pick adjustment of status, but not consular processing, and then you need to change the location, or even if you did pick, you did write in the answer the location for U.S. embassy or consulate, but you need to change to a different embassy or consulate. It could cost more money, but for sure, if you were to change it from USCIS adjustment of status to NVC, National Visa or Consular Processing, that definitely will cost money and time. Okay, and anyway, now to get to Abdul's. Okay, you mean part 5? What number on part 5 is what I went through? What answer your question? No, I didn't because that wasn't talking about part 5. Okay, so maybe you're talking about this section, part 5, number 1. Have you previously filed for a petition for this beneficiary or any other alien? Um, is that what you're referring to? Maybe. All right, let me come back to that while you comment further. All right, back to TikTok. Thanks for following still. I'll probably be on for another 5 minutes. Okay, answer some questions here. Thanks so much for your trust. Okay, Miss A. Why security clearance after 485 interview in marriage based, and how long does it take? Okay, well, they have to check the security clearance of the immigrant, the national, foreign national. Okay, not security clearance. Then you check the background security. Um, oh, you're saying after the interview? Okay, let me. Click on this again. You already had the interview. How long ago did you have the interview? Okay, if you had the interview, I would say at least 6 months ago. All right, then I recommend talking to a lawyer. It could be ours. It'd be our pleasure to assist you. I recommend talking to a lawyer that helps file a mandamus lawsuit. Okay, because 6 months, I believe is too long. U.S. attorneys in that specific jurisdiction might not think it's unreasonable, but for the most part, most of our clients get there after the interview. It's usually like 1 week or the next day for the status to be updated. All right. So I think 6 months is unreasonable after the interview, but other people can think differently. It might not accept your case. But contact us, okay? You know where to go and follow. By the way, if you forget, if you have to hop off on TikTok or any channel, you can, what's it called? DM us. All right. Follow and DM us. All right, back to Abdul on YouTube. You asked, okay, you confirmed that's the part 5 on page 8. Well, what's your specific question though? I don't really know the actual question. Where to file? Have you well, this doesn't mean where to file in terms if you mean like file the physical petition, if that's what you mean. This is just asking about the past. So you do want to be truthful if that's what you're getting at. Yeah, you have to share where you if someone has okay, I think 3A. Okay, the city and town. So what's the concern about city and town? Um, if yes, provide the date of filing. Okay, okay, I see. I think I understand. Um, then then I would just put the city and town. Oh yeah, that is interesting. They ask these questions. It's kind of silly to be honest. Okay, because if you answer, provide the name. So who you filed for, because this application is signed by the petitioner. Okay, the sponsor and the place. Okay, so the place is the city or town and state. I would just put where you resided at the time. Okay, and then date of filing. Yeah, that's on the receipt date and the result. Okay, but yeah, 2A and 2B is for who you filed for. 3A is where you lived. Essentially, that's what I would take it as. Okay, because then they can associate that with their local field office for some reason. I think that's a. I don't know how that data point can help them honestly. All right, let me switch back over to TikTok real quick. Okay, Alikma, the hearts got me on your little TikTok symbol here on your question. How long after approved 485 you get your green card? So it sounds like a very similar question as I mentioned just a few minutes ago. But check your status online. I mean, don't freak out, but probably check it at least once a week and after your interview. Okay, so you already had the interview, you got approved. Okay, great. Congratulations. It usually, based on experience, it seems to take about 2 to 3 weeks on average. Now, keep in mind, I have a feeling that either USCIS changed their subcontractor that creates these green cards or something because I've had a lot of inquiries about like, oh, I've already been approved 45, and many people have not received the card. In fact, we have one client. Fortunately, it's only one, but she got approved in April. We checked the status online the day after our delivery tracking shows the medical exam was delivered, and it said approved. We also got the receipt approval notice in the mail. Yet she still doesn't have the green card. We've tried everything. And I don't know why. Like it seems like maybe internally, if y'all know this, let me know. I don't expect you know this, but it seems like internally that the field office has like the quote unquote easy button. And it sounds like this officer forgot to hit the easy button, even though maybe there's two easy buttons to trigger the workflow for the next step. Something's missing here because I feel bad for this client and also others who experience delays. But in general, aside from that, okay, Alikma, most people get it in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. Now, for those people who are abroad and get their visa issued to them, get the visa package. Um, you do have to pay for this immigrant fee, which essentially produces the green card, resident card. But for those folks who are here in the United States that file the 485, you do not have to do an extra step like that. I know it's weird. I think this immigrant fee, the ELIS website, started, I believe, at least 5 to 7 years ago. Another way for the government to make money. They got to pay off the subcontractor. It's the government, so I safely assume they use subcontractors, and that's because they also do that for the biometrics for the fingerprints. I told you I'm going to be on for a little bit longer to answer questions. That was 10 minutes ago, so I'll answer two more questions. Okay, folks. If I don't get to your question, I apologize, but please schedule a time. A time. I'm trying to do something like I do for my team for training purposes. If you have a more in-depth question and my team does not offer you a strategy session, I apologize in advance. We just have limited time for that, limited time slots. But we are probably going to create something like back into like office hours, it's like back in school essentially, back at university office hours, and I might do that like once every 2 weeks or something. So let's see. If that would be helpful to you, please tap the screen and give me a like below, okay? I would greatly appreciate it. Does anyone know if the likes, at least on YouTube, for example, like after the show ends, the recording or the show ends, like that would show up in the video itself, like later on? I don't think it does, like TikTok. All right, next question. Yeah, Tony said forgot to click the prayer. Yep. They're ridiculous. USCIS. Ephraim confirms my suspicion. Okay, well, that's too bad. They need to make that change. Alrighty. Amy asks, any update on Form 601A? You filed it in 2021. Okay, so I recall a couple clients that we got approved. I remember we filed it in June 2020, I believe. Let me pull up their case file. Um, that's a cool thing about my system. Everything's quick. I can just pull up information. Client meets up with us or schedules a meeting. I can pull up the information very quickly. I'm not like our law firm is not like the old ones where they have everything on a notepad and they gotta. Oh man, I can't imagine. Even if they had little tabs, sticker tabs, I can't imagine doing that. All right, so let me find this client, okay? But Amy, anyone else who has filed a 601A on yes, on the processing time table online with USCIS does show 43 and a half months. I checked that, I believe, 2 days ago or last week. But yeah, a couple clients that got approved, and we filed their case June 2020. So I say roughly a year before yours, Amy, and they just got approved 1 or 2 months ago. So I guess they got approved at least 36 months later. Yeah, my math is correct ish. All right. So for you, Amy, you might expect to wait at least another year. Okay, so this brings up a good thing that you need to know, important thing. Um, if you move and you have a lawyer, you need to do several things, but especially if you have a lawyer, you need to consider your lawyer as your best friend. Because most likely, if you move for some, you tell your best friend probably sooner than you tell your own family. But consider your lawyer as your best friend, so you update them before you even move. Maybe even as soon as you sign the lease to the new place or the mortgage paperwork, which good luck to you if you're applying for mortgage. My goodness, it's crazy rates out there. Anyways, yeah, let your lawyer know as soon as possible because if you fail to update your lawyer and hopefully they update USCIS AR11, or you could do it yourself if you don't trust your lawyer for some reason. You could do it online. I mean, that's a service that we provide. We update USCIS pretty much the same day that you notify us. And then the other thing is you need to forward your mail, okay? Because you've gone through this whole process. You paid a lot of money to your lawyer. Maybe you didn't hire a lawyer, but at least to USCIS. And then you moved. And then for some reason, there's an RFE, request for evidence, or annoyed, and you didn't respond to it. And then you have to restart the whole process. And then maybe, if it's a spouse case, you end up getting divorced because your spouse is like, man, you just get in arguments. Things happen. It's unfortunately common. We receive a lot of inquiries like that. So just keep that in mind, folks. So just a practical thing. I mean, that's what we handle for our clients. So you don't even have to worry about that. We're pretty quick on the stuff on a lot of things because we streamline. Every team member has a certain role. Okay, let me see. All right, one more question. Jessica, thanks for the hat and mustache. Okay, I just see that now. Let me see if there's a question that I haven't answered before. Mary Lou, is it possible to have an employer help you get a work visa once you're already working with him already? So I can answer your question in a couple different ways. The first thing is you don't even have to work for that company that's going to sponsor you until you get the case approved. So, especially for folks who applied, want to get a green card through a company, there is no requirement to actually work for that company until you get your green card, your resident status. I know it's strange. So some people have told me like an agency that helped nurses, and then the agency went bankrupt after so many years, and that person finally was able to come to America. They didn't actually work for that hospital or clinic. That's what they told me. So um, of course, you don't want to tell anyone, but people ask me that too. Like, how long do I have to work for that company? Nothing in the law says a certain time period, black and white rule. It's just that there has to be a bona fide job offer. And but look, folks, if you get a green card through a company, try to stick with them for some time. I'm not going to tell you how long you should stay with them, but yeah, if you're itching to go, I get it, but it gives other foreign nationals a bad rap, okay, a bad reputation. This whole process, a bad reputation if you just ditch that company very quickly. So, I mean, to be honest, like if a company asks me, there should be some employment agreement because they have to pay a lot of money. If they're forcing you to pay, ooh, that's not good, right? But technically, the company is supposed to pay for the process. So a lot of companies are a little hesitant, right? Because by law, they're supposed to pay for the process and help you. So that's just something to keep in mind. Don't ditch that quickly. But I don't know if that answered your question. Let's see. I pinned it and went away. Oh shoot, Adriana, you think you missed my your response? Yeah, I do think I asked your question or answered your question. Let's see if I can find it again. Someone asked, "Are the fees?" Chris Dave asked, "Are the fees to adjust stats going up as well?" Yes, they are. I'm going to record a video to show you all the fees. Um, I don't know if I'll try to do that on TikTok also. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Adriana, for posting your question again. Um, After an immigration interview, how fast can you get the green card? Okay, so and your interview was in Mexico. All right, so there's one thing you need to do after that. Okay, at least one thing. There's a couple things, but the first step is to look at your ustraveldocs.com website or whichever AIS website to check the status of it. And also, well, two different another place. It's the ceac.state.gov, that portal. Okay, check on status. And but in general, to answer your question more directly, it depends because it also depends on the facts of your situation. Have you already entered America or you're still waiting outside? Because you do not actually get the green card, the physical card, when you're abroad. Because you also, I guess you could say, step three is you also have to pay a fee They call it immigrant fee at the ELIS website is called immigrant fee, and it's to produce the physical card. And so you could do that even while you're still in Mexico, but from what I understand, it can only be mailed to a US address. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong if anyone else has gone through the process differently. Um but anyways, hopefully that helps. Okay. Oh, Adriana, I do see your that you said answer 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, in general. So you're in Mexico or scheduled. Okay, sounds like you haven't gone through the actual processes because you just said been in the US since 1 year old, interview scheduled in Mexico for the second time. Husband is in military. Okay, so it sounds like maybe you are in Mexico right now. Okay. Oh, husband's in the military. Why'd you have to go back abroad then? You should give us a call, okay? Maybe it's too late for us to. Oh, no, you're in Washington? Okay, I think you asked this question maybe last time I was on, but you should schedule an appointment with us because have you heard of military parole in place? Maybe you could be eligible for that and not have to even go abroad. But you said you already had an interview. So I'm a bit confused. I would love the opportunity, or my team would love the opportunity to follow up with you. So schedule an appointment with us. We do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. 99% of the time, it's not me. Okay. It's one of my attorneys, associate attorneys, and they will help guide you. Now, of course, we have a minimum 2 meetings a week with my team, my attorneys, to go through situations like this that you may mention as in a consultation, but also for clients because some clients get themselves in a situation where like, yeah, you should not have done that. So we do have meetings with the attorneys at least twice a week, could be more. I don't think my attorneys would like it if I force a meeting every single day. But we have very pinpointed meetings to help you all out. Um, even though I trust them already, but sometimes it's good to I think that's the thing, like working in an office, just to shoot ideas with each other, share information. But our team works remotely. I do have a physical office in Houston, Texas. So even if you're not living in Houston area, come on by. Welcome to stop by, but give us some advance notice so we make sure we're available for you. Because actually, Houston, I'm from Dallas, so Tony knows I'm a Cowboys fan and Mavericks fan at least, but in stars, by the way, and Rangers. I had to throw that in there because they won the World Series last year. But my wife says I'm a bandwagoner Rangers fan. It's just I don't watch it that much. It's the game is too long. All right, Samir. All right, I answered your question. I thought I did. I did answer your question. You just didn't listen to it earlier. But I'll answer again. All right. Samir's question situation is yes, Adriana, we do offer virtual appointments. We you don't have you don't have to show up in person in over here, but we do offer. We use Dialpad right now. It's kind of like Zoom, so we'll send you a link once you schedule. You can go to greencardguys.com and click on contact us. Samir, your situation, you said that your asylum decision was mailed. I don't think your decision was mailed. I think you're referring to your notice. I could be wrong, but if your decision was mailed, then whatever happens to your 765 doesn't matter. So I think you're referring to your notice of receipt. And because your other part of your comment is your fees were waived for 765. What does it mean? That means you don't have to pay a fee for 765. Um, so hopefully that helps answer your question, or hope that it does answer your question. All right, folks. I really appreciate your questions. Thanks for your trust. Again, down back here, okay, in my board, I'm using this background for the first time. Is you can't really see it, but it's the fees. It's the Federal Register showing that the rule last year that they increased the fees. It didn't actually get implemented yet, but because the comment period has already passed long ago in March 2023, literally at any moment, like tomorrow, next hour, they can increase the fees. So if you're not sure whether you believe you're eligible or not, and you ask yourself, how long have I been eligible? Do not wait any longer. Again, it is our pleasure to assist you from start to finish or in the middle to finish line. But look, Talk to an immigration lawyer, attorney. Talk to your attorney. Okay, and all right, Antonia, you asked your question 3 times, no answer. You can ask questions so many times that I won't answer it because it's not intentional. It's just like there's so many questions, but because I saw your comment a second ago, I'll answer it. Applied 601 in the US, can you go back and apply for diplomatic visa and return after overstay? Well, I need no more information. Did you get your 601 approved? Um, why did you apply 601? Like, there's a lot. So you do need to schedule an appointment. It's your question is definitely not a quick answer on TikTok platform or any platform, really. That's very, very in depth. So, but I appreciate it. Okay. I appreciate your trust to ask this question. Because I mean, if you say diplomatic visa, for example, is that because you have a family member who's a diplomat? Um, then really, then anyway, you gotta schedule an appointment because I could like go left and right in so many different ways. You have a job offer as a diplomat. Congratulations on that. For your country. Yeah, your question. Sorry, folks, I can't. It's hard to answer every question. I'll try. I'm losing my voice now. Okay. Let me switch over to YouTube because Monica asked, is it as long as y'all are polite, of course, and which y'all have, but there's some people that honestly rude, and then I'm just not going to answer it intentionally. Um, is it not? I just don't got time. I don't have the time. I got to manage my team, file cases, review cases. Monica asked, "Is it normal? Is it normal for kids to get social and work permit before kids?" So it sounds like Monica, that your children have been approved. Um, I mean, there's no like fine line, black and white timing, but if if your if your kids got approved for work permit earlier or got the social security number earlier than you, and for better or worse, from SSA.gov or .gov, everything's related to internet, SSA agency, then that's great. But I don't think I can't say it's abnormal, but it is normal for SSA to be freaking slow. I can tell you that. We've had several clients in 2023 ask, like, was it or the steps because SSA did not send the issue the social security card, but typically it's supposed to come out like the easy button, but it doesn't. So not for everyone. But even if it doesn't, like within a month after approval, your work permit application, then just go ahead and go to ssa.gov and click apply or schedule appointment. I think that's how they do it. Is you have to schedule appointment. I don't think you just show up, but you could try. Sometimes, and also the SSA offices are could be far from where you live. So I would, in that situation, I do recommend definitely schedule appointment for them with them. All right, Harv James. Let me see. Um, yes, I'll get to your question. Let's see. Tony says you can just show up to SSA office. Yeah, I think maybe because pandemic is over, they allow that now, and he did that for his wife. You're welcome, Monica. All right, Harv James. Citizenship denied due to lack of GMC. When can you apply again? Military benefits. I don't know why you put in military benefits. If you've served our country, thank you so much for your service. But you don't have to share on a live show here why you were denied. What was your lack of GMC? But I can tell you, I'll just share like the most common situation is that if you have a crime or some kind of criminal history and you had probation and it eventually was dismissed, that's great. But technically, of course, you have to share that information on your N400 because some people think, oh, it's dismissed, so I don't have to share, right? No, you have to because the question is very specific. Have you been arrested, convicted? I don't even think they say plea deal, but you have to mention all those different scenarios, even if arrested and a straight dismissal, because it does ask like what was the outcome essentially. We lawyers call it attorneys call it disposition, the outcome. Okay. So Yours requires a longer answer. The thing is that there's a 5-year period for GMC, good moral character. Okay, when you get status, and it's not through a spouse. Okay, let me see if I can find that in a USC policy manual for you. But you're on TikTok, so I guess that part doesn't matter so much. Criminal, good moral character. Okay, so if those folks on YouTube and Facebook, you can see this. Let's see. Okay, let me share my screen. I've got a lot of tabs open. Are you like me that have a lot of tabs open on a computer? Okay. Okay, here we go. Well, I know that Harv James can't see this, but I'll explain showing it on other channels as well. All right, so you'll see here. Harv James, did you get a green card through a spouse or not from a spouse? Because if you got it from a spouse, then your statutory period for GMC, good moral character, is 3 years. Okay, and it starts prior to the date that you filed it. But okay, I see maybe why you mentioned military. The period during which certain service members or veterans must show GMC starts 1 or 5 years from a date of filing, depending on the military provision. Okay, so you might need to schedule a strategy session specific to your situation to figure out the timing. But in general, okay, you the timing does not should so even though it starts from the filing date, it's really saying looking back. It's a look back period. Okay. So let's say you filed January 1st, 2024. It looks back 3 or 5 years, depending on your situation, depending how you got residency in the first place. So again, if it's based on spouse, then it's 3 years back. If not from a spouse, then 5 years back. They really should just keep it even. I don't know why they have to keep it different. But during that look back period, was there a crime? Was there an arrest? Some people's look back period does not include the arrest date, but it does include the probation period. And you cannot include the probation period. It cannot overlap with that. GMC period cannot overlap with the um, probation period, even if it's by 1 day. They're very strict on this. So hopefully that helps. Okay. So essentially, the way I would say it is if your probation ended December 31st, 2023, then you have to wait 3 or 5 years from January 1st, 2024. So in that sense, that would take a long time. But hopefully that gives you an idea. Okay, Harvard James. Appreciate it, everyone. Time to eat lunch. It is now past my lunch hour in Texas. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And y'all know what to do. Hit the screen and follow for more. Okay. I'm going to find new ways to share more content, not just live shows. So stay tuned. Have a great one. Take care.